It's about that time of day again here, folks. Welcome back. Welcome back. 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Monday through Thursday. Welcome back to our nightly newsletter. My name is Joseph James, broadcasting live from our corporate headquarters here in Los Angeles, California. Sunny afternoon here, springtime. May 7th, 2014. It was a wacky Wednesday in our trade room. Markets were all over the place here. Before we jump into our nightly newsletter here, here's what to expect on the schedule here for this evening. First of all, markets today. We'll take a look at what happened today in the markets. Crude oil reverses, gold tumbles lower, and the mini Russell drops and then pops. We'll then look over at the news that happened today. I'll tell you, Janet Yellen, she sure knows how to get a party started. She shook things up here big time this morning. We'll take a look at what she was talking about today. Very pleasantly surprised. I think we might almost have a politician that gets it. But hold on, I'm going to get to that in just a moment. The tensions begin to ease in Ukraine. All of a sudden, Russia doesn't look so interested in this whole little shenanigans happening in the Crimea region. Very interesting. And of course, crude oil inventories drop, pushing crude oil prices higher. We're going to dig into today's news here. You'll be amazed at what we had happen today in the news. Once we're done today's news, didn't have anything interesting to share with you guys this evening for this day in history, so we'll jump right into news for tomorrow. Tomorrow we've got some big news coming out. ECB's announcement tomorrow, followed by their press conference, 8 o'clock. We've got jobless claims, and of course, we've got Miss Janet Yellen coming back for an encore tomorrow morning, except she'll be testifying in front of the Budget Committee of the Senate. We'll take a look at what's happening for tomorrow's news. Got to be aware of that. And then you know how it goes. I'm going to make you wait for it. At the end of today's newsletter, we're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to find some selling opportunities on gold and Russell, and of course, looking at buying opportunities on crude. Don't take my word for it, though, boys and girls. Hold on tight for your nightly newsletter here for May 7th, 2014. Now, couple important things here before we jump in. If you're not watching this right now on sidewaysmarkets.com, there will be a link right below the video. Make sure you get over to sidewaysmarkets.com. You can see all of our nightly newsletters archived with the button right there. I also want to remind you here that you can download all the charts today. That's right. Download all the charts. Get them ready next to the video. And then that way, you can go over the charts with me as I go over them right now. So pause the video, download the charts, put them on another monitor, and then that way you can follow along while I'm going through them on the video. That's why I take the extra time to give you guys the ability to download those charts. And then last but not least, guys, I've got a special invitation for you to come out and see me tomorrow afternoon in our live trade room. That's right. You can be a guest. I want to show you exactly how we use these materials to profit every single day in our trade room. So come out and join us. Get a free pass for you guys to attend our live trade room. All righty. Enough of the chit-chat. Let's jump right in here. First of all, let's take a look at what happened in the markets today. Crude oil. Boy, crude oil pulled a little okey-doke on us this morning. We began the session on crude looking for selling opportunities. If you remember yesterday, we saw the closing print on Tuesday evening, right? Remember that? All the way down near the lows. The volume was near the lows. You can go back and watch last night's newsletter. So what the heck happened? Well, remember, we're day traders. So as we say in our trade room each morning, we try not to think so darn much, right? Not too concerned about why the price reversed overnight, but we definitely saw a big clue this morning, didn't we, guys? Personality changed. Crude oil said, now you see us going lower, now you don't. Crude pushes higher. The big clue was the opening print this morning. It was the opening print this morning. By the time we woke up in the U.S., the move had already been started. We saw the opening print up near the highs. That told us closing print last night at the low. Whoopsie-daisy. Now we open up at the high, and that told us right off the bat that something had changed overnight. Do I care what that something is? No. It'd be nice to impress you guys, but it's not going to make more money. So we know that something happened overnight. Maybe it was China. Maybe who knows what it was, right? Doesn't matter. All we know is we opened up at the highs. That gave us all the reason in the world here, especially since we saw a bullish API number last night, which we talked about in the newsletter last night. It pulled back a little bit here, but just enough to give us a chance here now to get 1030 inventories and pushed it higher. A couple key components here. First of all, got a relatively wide range, pretty typical though, so no real big clues going into tomorrow as far as narrow or excessively wide. We saw just about a 1% improvement here in price. Here's the big number though. Closing price here was above the big round number of 100. That's a big deal. Another very big clue here is we closed above the previous day's highs. So we closed above the 100. We closed above yesterday's highs. All of that, well, it doesn't say bearish, I'll tell you that much. It's definitely screaming the bulls are trying to grab control here. And I think the biggest clue we get here is the volume spike. Look where the majority of the volume is. The majority of the volume today, no, we spent the most of the time today, and this is a very important aspect about day trading. We spent time down below today. But look where the volume was. The volume was above. So that tells us that most of the trading activity was done above 100, above the prior high of day at 142. Not a lot of other clues here, but we're definitely looking bullish here right now. We finished the day just off the highs, above the 100, and then look out for tomorrow. Prior week open, prior week high. I've got 102.20. I've got 101.17. I would imagine that the 101.17 should be within striking distance. That is, if these buyers continue. Now hold on tight because this is just what happened today. I've got another chart for you at the end of the call tonight, which will go over my plans for buying pullbacks on crude going into Thursday morning. So stick around. Moving forward here, how about the gold? We go from the black gold to that yellow metal, right? The gold. Just as we expected, gold pushing lower. We've been talking about the shorts on gold all week. We finally, can I hear it from the we finally got some action here on gold. We were beginning to wonder if I had the wrong front month here. We had very narrow range on Monday, very narrow range on Tuesday, and then just like we said, something was coming here. Sell off here early in the session, trade sideways through Janet Yellen, and then finishes the move lower. Notice very symmetrical moves, right? Yeah, that's right. I never said I was a fundamental trader. I'm a technical trader. I'm a technician. We love those symmetry patterns, right? Easy to find that support down there at 1285 half. Moving forward, though, we know that we had a huge range today, right? My rule of thumb is above 200 and I'm wide, below 100 and I'm narrow. And if I have a wide range today, I expect a narrow range tomorrow. Narrow range today, wide range tomorrow. Tomorrow is expected to be a much narrower range, but you know what? We've got an encore presentation from Miss Yellen tomorrow morning too, so we may have 2 back-to-back days of some very big movement. Now, net change here, 1.38 down. Most important thing that I see here right now is going to be, there's 2 really big clues here on this chart. The first one is the prior week close, but it's more along the lines of the volume profile. The volume was all below the prior week close, all below the prior week high. Very, very important. Very important. So the volume, think of the volume as being where all the gold traders cast their vote. So if the volume is near the low, that means the traders cast their vote for prices going lower. If the volume is near the highs, traders are casting their vote for higher prices. So we're seeing right now, yeah, the volume didn't quite pile up here at the lows, although you can see we did see a pretty significant amount of volume traded there. We really have 1, 2, and 3 areas on this chart that are, well, they're higher volume. So we know that that's where the majority of the trading transactions were going on. So we know that, of course, the big volume spike here at 97.6, that's the big clue. It's below the 1,300 big round number. It's below the prior week close and the prior week open. And of course, right, this blue line is the prior week close. The orange line is the prior week open. So we're well below those levels. This all tells us it's not bullish, It's definitely on the bearish side. And the next big clue is right below us. You can't miss it. As easy as falling off a horse. 1272 even. That's the prior week low, right? That's the lowest point that we traded at last week. So if these sellers are as serious as they appear to be, and if Janet Yellen kindly fans the flame here tomorrow morning, we should have no problem get down to that 1272 even. All right, now you know the deal today on gold. Again, stick around. I'm going to give you guys some opportunities here to get short on gold with the chart at the end of the newsletter tonight. Let's keep going. We called a trade yesterday on gold. If you recall last night on last night's newsletter, don't take my word for it. Go back in time. Watch last night's newsletter. We talked about on gold how we were expecting to see a little bit of a bounce here, right? We were looking for some buying opportunities, but my specific instructions were we're selling short here below 1301. So last night's newsletter talks about selling short below 1301.3 with a profit target down at the 93.9. And as you can see on this trade here, again, called last night on our blog, in our newsletter, that trade alone earned over $800 per contract. All right, so don't say I didn't warn you. Make sure you pay attention to these trade calls we give you guys here in the nightly newsletter. Moving forward here. Now with the Mighty Russell. So, of course, Mighty Russell, here we have. Opened up at the lows here. Now, remember what happened yesterday. We talked about last night. Closing price at the lows. We were expecting selling opportunities today on the Russell, and that's exactly what happened here today. Now, of course, we definitely got a little bit of a reversal here late in the session, most likely a short covering rally. What happened was Janet Yellen hit the microphone, and this thing just tanked. And then we found a significant support level down here off the anchor chart in the trade room today, and we found a great reversal pattern off it to get it going back up. Little bit of a short covering rally there, and you can see here, closing price right back to where we began here. So definitely a market that looks a little bit shaken up a little bit. Shaken, of course, not stirred. Had a little bit of a short covering rally towards the end of the session. 215 ticks of range today. Very wide range. Expecting to see a much more narrow range tomorrow. Closing price here. Now here's a pretty big deal here. Closing price back above the low from yesterday. That's not bearish, right? That's definitely bullish. But I think the big clue here, though, is look at the volume. The volume was the heaviest, just a teeny bit below that 1100 big round number. That's a pretty big clue here. So what this tells me right now is that we may get stuck in the mud here tomorrow around this 1100 big round number. If we don't, it'll be interesting to see here because we get the prior week's close up top here. That's going to be a good target for the buyers. And then hold on tight because I got a chart for you guys at the end of the newsletter tonight where I'm going to show you guys exactly what our plan is for trading this mini Russell on Thursday. So we had, of course, open at the lows, closed at the highs. Volume is literally right in the middle. All of this screaming balance. So we got the first part of the day right. And that's really all we can expect, right? I can't predict the whole day tomorrow, but I can definitely predict the next few hours, right? We're day traders, so we don't need to worry too much about long-term stuff. All I care about is what's happening the next half an hour, 45 minutes. That's all I need to profit from. Again, the big round number of 1100, all the volume piled up there. I'm going to have to wait tomorrow to see what this brings us because clearly this is pretty neutral here, pretty balanced here. We get the prior week close up top, the prior week high up top. Those will be targets, 1121.6. Those will be magnets here. But again, I would expect, if I had to guess right now, I'd expect we do a little bit of sitting here until we hear from the ECB tomorrow morning, until we hear from Janet Yellen tomorrow morning. So expect 1100 to be your price magnet if you're looking for reversal trades here today. Speaking of trade calls, here was a trade we called last night on the Russell. If you remember last night on the Russell, we gave you guys two exact locations to get short, right, up top there. But we also said specifically last night, and again, don't take my word for it, kiddos. Go back and watch last night's newsletter. We talked about short selling below the 1101.4. And if you remember, we gave you guys two levels down here. Now, being conservative, the short below 1101.4 down to the 97.4. Again, all these details were given to you last night. That trade itself earned $300 per contract. You also had that second target over $600 per contract. So nice and easy trades here on gold and Russell. All right. Moving forward here now. Janet Yellen, like I said earlier, this gal knows how to throw a party. And I'll tell you guys, she really, the more I get to know her, the more I like this gal. She really seems to be like one of those people that get it, right? Pretty cool stuff today listening to what she was saying. Let's take a look at what happened in the news this morning. Again, all eyes this morning on Janet Yellen and crude oil inventories. Basically, both of those were on our radar today. Later in the session, well, first of all, let's talk about what happened with Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen, like I said, the more I know about her, the more I like it. She had some very dovish comments. I would encourage you guys, if you don't know what the word dovish means, follow that hyperlink right there. Basically, there are hawks and there are doves. The way that I remember it is hawks are higher interest rates. So somebody who is hawkish believes in higher interest rates, right? Higher interest rates, depending on what your, what your point of reference is or what your opinion is. Some people like Alan Greenspan, some people like Ben Bernanke, Janet Yellen, they believe in lower interest rates, right? Whether or not you believe in that or not. Lower interest rates, right, of course, good for gold, bad for pretty much everything else. Very good for somebody who wants to invest, but not good for anybody who wants to be a saver, right? So we are a nation of consumers here in the U.S. because our monetary policy is dovish. Think about it. If the Fed wanted us to put our money in the bank, they would increase interest rates because the banks would pay us now. If our federal government wanted us to consume, to go to the movies, to buy real estate, to buy stocks, right, to buy futures, if our federal government, if our Fed wanted us to be spenders, not savers, they would be dovish. So kind of think about that for a second. You can understand what I'm talking about. If you want more info on that, give me a comment. I'd be happy to go into more detail in the future about the hawks and the doves and how that applies, right, to day traders. Now, what I thought was so impressive is that while President Obama is touting this lower unemployment rate, higher amount of jobs, it seems like anyone with a pulse knows that the jobs aren't coming back. This unemployment rate is unfortunately clouded, right, by people leaving the job search. But what I thought was just so refreshing today was that finally somebody of importance, she's a non-elected public official, but a public official comes out and says, wait a second, we don't have the jobs we want. We got a bunch of part-time jobs. We get a bunch of MIT math professors working as janitors right now. We have a lot of people who are well overqualified for their 39-hour-a-week right jobs, but those aren't the quality jobs we had in the past. And I love the fact that she publicly said that she did not really put much weight on the non-farm payroll report last Friday, right? Incredible. We haven't heard truth like that out of a public official in years. So I thought this was great today. It was just like, wow, breath of fresh air. Thank you, Janet, for putting my faith back in the, I'm not going to go too far here, right? Move on, JJ, move on. You said enough. Later in the morning today, we heard from crude oil inventories. Inventories came out much lower than expected, but as we talked about today in the trade room, the demand number was the big clue here. Demand came back on crude. Now, you combine some dovish comments from Janet Yellen, along with the easing tensions today in Ukraine, and of course, you've got some very happy crude oil traders to be buying. So that's what got crude going higher today. That combination of the easing out of the tensions of Ukraine. We heard, of course, from Janet Yellen talking about dovish. And, of course, we got more demand on the inventories. So news today, all eyes and ears on Janet Yellen and crude inventories. And now let's talk about what we got tomorrow. So we have some fun talking about Janet Yellen, but she's not done yet this week. She's coming back to see us again tomorrow. Thursday morning, we have a ton of news here. We're beginning in Australia, then moving to China. Then we've got news out of Europe, and then we're heading to the U.S. here for a thirsty Thursday morning. First of all, we begin tomorrow morning in Australia. And China just after midnight tonight. We then move into Europe. We have some really important news tomorrow morning in Europe starting at 3 a.m., but the big news tomorrow is around 7:45 a.m. And then once again, we got the encore presentation from Janet Yellen tomorrow morning at 9:30. And of course, we always get jobless claims Thursday morning at 8:30. So looking over the schedule for tomorrow morning, this evening we start in Australia. We then move to China. We get a very important trade balance number. Remember, China's number one impact in their economy is manufacturing and exports. Something tells me there's going to be some big clues hidden inside of that trade balance report. Now, they're telling us between 12 a.m. and 2 a.m. So it's going to be sometime between midnight and we'll say 2 o'clock tomorrow morning. Then we move into the Swissy. We got out of Switzerland, we got consumer prices. Don't ask me why the Swissy symbol is CH. All right, I just work here. All right, don't ask me why the symbol is CH. We've got the BOE announcement from Great Britain tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. That's a pretty big deal, but it takes the back seat to tomorrow morning's, drum roll please, we get the 7:45 ECB announcement. This is just like our FOMC announcement here in the U.S. And then about half an hour, 45 minutes later, we have the press conference. So tomorrow morning between 8 and 8:30, you're going to see this thing moving and shaking here on the euro, gold, dollar, anything related to euro or gold, right? Because you can imagine the ECB announcement, they're dealing with some really nasty problems right now of deflation, and they're going to be talking about that tomorrow morning at 8:15, so be aware. The CAD, we got housing starts tomorrow morning at 8:15, not a very big number there. All eyes and ears, though, tomorrow morning in the U.S. session will be on jobless claims at 8:30, and, of course, you got Janet Yellen there at 9:30. Keep in mind, all of these are hyperlinked. If you want to learn more about the news events, click on those hyperlinks, and you'll learn all about them. Now, let's get the good stuff rolling here. Getting ready for tomorrow here. Crude oil has completely changed its bearish tone here. We are now making new higher highs, higher lows. I'm above all the key moving averages. Members, you know what that means. That means every new higher high, I'm looking for wave patterns to get long. I've already got a spot here at 139 to 125. I can look for a buy. I am going to be bullish here on crude as we keep going higher here, and I've got targets above me here at 101.40, 102.03, and I don't think we get all the way up to 102.92 tomorrow morning. It's possible, though. This is the black gold we're talking about here. Anything is possible with crude oil futures, but I would expect, though, to get at least up into this 102 area, though, if we see these buyers continue to buy. Now, if we do happen to change, because, boy, I'll tell you, I feel bad for the traders out there that are trying to hold trades more than 2 or 3 days right now. It is very difficult for long-term projections right now. So if for some crazy reason, and who knows, boys and girls, this could really, it could change direction just as fast as it went higher here. If we get below this 99.79, I will immediately begin looking for a short selling opportunity down to 98.74. All right? So I'm bullish here as long as we stay above 97.99. Get below 99.79. Make sure I correct myself. I'm looking to get short here down to a seller's target at 98.74. All right, guys? I've got entry locations here. As long as we keep going to new higher highs, I'm looking for wave patterns, and I got targets up top here listed on the chart. That's my crude here for tomorrow. Again, I'm not married to the upside right now. It's not written in stone, but I'll definitely take it if they keep pushing higher. How about gold? We move from the black gold to the yellow metal here. We got lower lows, lower highs. We are below all of the key moving averages. Members, you know what that means, right? Look out below. We're looking for selling opportunities here. Now we get a bear channel. You know what I want to do with a bear channel, right, guys? I want to sell the highs of a bear channel. I want to sell at a premium. I don't want to sell at a discount, and right now we're at a discounted price. So ideally, I would like to get up into this 93.2, 97 even, double 0.8. I don't think we're going to go as high as 08.9, but I got it there for us anyways. Bottom line is I'm looking for selling opportunities here on gold right now, and I have a target down bottom here at 81.4, 77 even, and then you get a nice big fat runner target at 72 even on the way down. All I need to get short right now is either a retracement into any of these areas above or a new lower low followed by a retracement into a wave pattern short here on the gold. Again, I'm not married to it. Until something changes, I'm looking for price to get short here right now on the gold at any of these areas listed above. And of course, last but not least, it wouldn't be a newsletter without the mighty mini Russell. My favorite E-minis right now are the Russell and the NASDAQ, right? The Russell and the NASDAQ. Very big ranges we're getting right now. Now, here's a little bit of a sneaky little chart here on the Russell. The Russell anchor chart, what I can see right now is that as a trend follower, we are not quite out of the woods yet, but we are definitely close. As of right now, we are still in a bearish downtrend on this Russell. And look what's happened here. Remember how we saw the VIP chart? Remember how the VIP chart was balanced, right? We closed at the lows yesterday evening. We opened at the highs, right, this morning. Remember how that kind of threw us for a curveball, right? Kind of gave us a little bit of a shake off there. Well, I'm sorry, excuse me. My bad. This was the low from yesterday. We pushed lower overnight. Sorry about that. Janet Yellen, right, comments pushed us lower, and then we caught a bid here, short covering rally, and then, of course, it took off from there. So what I'm thinking is I'm thinking, all right, we saw that 1100 volume, right? Remember the 1100, that big round number? 1100 was where the volume profile was in the VIP chart. So there's a good chance here we get a nice big easy short here at 1107.5. I have a target here at 1098 even, 1095.8, and another target down bottom here at 88.5. So right now, I'm going to be bearish until we get above this 12 even. Once we get above the 12 even, then I'll start looking to buy, and I'm looking to buy up to the 18.4. All right? So I'm looking for shorts here inside this range. I got my target down bottom here at 98 even, 95.8, and 88.5. So we're not quite out of the bearish woods yet. The buyers have some more work to do. We are above all the key moving averages, but we're not out of the woods yet. Again, I'm expecting here for that volume profile at 1100 to act as a price magnet. So be on the lookout for a reversal pattern here going short. Back to the big round number, but I'm looking for a target down here at 98 and then 88.5. All right, guys, and again, above the 1112s, then we'll start looking for the buying opportunities up to the zone above us on Thursday morning. We have an exciting session ahead of us tomorrow. I'm excited for you. I hope you guys are excited as well. Don't forget, you got to share this with a friend, guys. Got to share this with a friend. Don't hog all the good stuff to yourself, right? Forward this stuff over to a friend of yours. They'll thank you for that. And don't forget, guys, make sure you navigate over to sidewaysmarkets.com where you can download all of our charts and all the content for today. You can register for a free pass to attend our live trade room. And you can also register for our nightly newsletter mailing list where we send this email out every single evening so you know when the nightly newsletter is posted. My name is Joseph James. My wife Megan and I created SchoolOfTrade.com over 10 years ago, and we are so excited to welcome you into our community of day traders. I have traders from all over the world, and we specialize in helping new traders kickstart their career in a safe and profitable environment. We have beginner, intermediate, and advanced level memberships, and we have a great free trial. I would love to share with you everything I do in the markets on our free trial. So come out and join us tomorrow morning in our trade room. We'll show you guys how we trade all these levels we talked about tonight. And don't forget, I got one more day left this week. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for the trade room. We'll see you back here tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. for the newsletter. And you guys have yourself a fantastic Wednesday evening and Thursday morning. We'll see you guys in the morning. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.